And I just want to put it out there. None of this is sponsored. Like none of the platforms that I mentioned in this have given us any money. They don't even know I'm talking about them. This is just free publicity for them because they're tools that I find particularly useful and ones that have worked really well for customers of ours. You're a founder of a company, or maybe you're a manager at a company, or maybe you're a rep at a company. And all of you are trying to decide what is the best tech stack to use in 2025. So I want to talk a little bit about what Kixie uses and also what I guess I would recommend, having dealt with thousands of people in the space and numerous different tech stacks that we integrate with, and some of the ones I think stand out for what their particular use case is. So first and foremost, I would say you need a central repository for all of your customer data or your prospect data to live. If you're just starting out, that probably looks something like a Google Sheet, right? And you're trying to determine how far can you make it on a Google Sheet before you have to migrate to what's called a CRM. Eventually, you're going to need to move to a CRM. Let's be real. I think for most companies, unless you really have very basic needs from your customer management side, you're going to want a CRM. And you want one because you want a central source of truth for all of your data to live. If you have a rep leave, for instance, you don't want that rep to leave and be the only source of knowledge about all the different customers he's dealt with. So now you can't pick up where he left off, right? You as a business owner or as a manager need to be able to still own those prospects or those deals after he or she has left. So what CRMs are out there? There are so many. And I'm almost hesitant to name specific ones, but I want to give you some guidance that I think will point you in the right direction. And that is, I would avoid specific verticalized CRMs and go towards generalized CRMs that have a really excellent track record. Let me give you an example. A lot of times I'll hear people say, oh, I'm in home repair, so I want a home repair CRM. Or I'm in insurance, so I want an insurance CRM. Or I'm in X, Y, and Z, so I want X, Y, and Z CRM. And then they go for a verticalized CRM that is not built on a more generalized CRM stacks. And a lot of times it misses a lot of the features when really all they need is to take a more generalized, well-built CRM and customize it for their use case. Two standouts in this regard are HubSpot and HighLevel, and they work very differently. HubSpot is really just a generalized CRM. Think of it like a Salesforce in terms of functionality, but man, is it easier to use. I mean, you don't need a Salesforce admin to run HubSpot. You don't. Anyone can do it. HubSpot almost did the same thing with CRM that we did with dialing. They took all the advanced features of a platform like Salesforce, just like we did with a platform like Five9, but made it really easy to deploy and use like we did, right? And so anyone can manage HubSpot. You can build workflows in it. You can run marketing through it. You can have all your contacts can live in there. It's a wonderful CRM and will probably serve you better than a vertical CRM. Now, HighLevel is cool because HighLevel is similar to HubSpot, a lot of that amazing functionality, but it can be customized to your vertical. So a lot of times you'll see maybe vertical CRMs that are really just a white labeled version of HighLevel, and those can be excellent. A white label version of HighLevel, why it's so good compared to just a vertical CRM is because HighLevel was built with the abundance of functionality that like a robust HubSpot has, but allows it to be kind of customized so that your reps aren't confused by all the various options or the nomenclature doesn't match up with what you do or whatever. So those are two real standout CRMs in 2025, HighLevel and HubSpot. And if you look at either company and you see how fast they're growing and how fast they're spreading, you'll realize why. I would highly recommend looking at them if you're looking at a CRM. Okay, so you've got a central source of truth. What else do you need? Well, you need a way to engage with customers. And I'm going to go into dialers later. So I'll stick with chat for right now, since chat is an area that has gotten big really ever since COVID. And there's a lot of AI improvements in that space. I'll say personally, we at Kixie, we use Intercom as our CRM. And I just want to put it out there. None of this is sponsored. Like none of the platforms that I mentioned in this have given us any money. They don't even know I'm talking about them. This is just free publicity for them because they're tools that I find particularly useful and ones that have worked really well for customers of ours. So Intercom, great chat interface, allows customers to visit your website to engage with your reps, and also has a whole AI component that can kind of both handle conversations and also like triage conversations. So can at least take a conversation, determine, paid customer, new customer, send it to CS, send it to sales, that kind of thing. It's a great solution for chat in general. I think HubSpot's an amazing marketing tool. ActiveCampaign can be too. It's just more difficult to use in my opinion. So I think HubSpot, you can kind of win on two bases, both as a CRM and as a marketing tool. You want to send out hundreds or thousands of emails or run a sequence campaign. Both are fantastic for those. I want to talk about something a little more specific, which is more on the conversational intelligence side of things. Now, you're going to expect me to say Gong, because Gong has been the heavyweight in this category for so long. And really, they deserve a lot of honors for really building this whole Gartner quadrant of software, right? Like, it didn't exist before they came to market. These are tools that really kind of analyze your calls, grade your reps' performance on calls. They really act as a way to scale managers, right? And allow your managers to review a lot more calls than they would be able to do manually by listening to each and every one of them. However, I'm actually not going to recommend Gong right now. I'm going to tell you why. The prevalence of LLMs and the move to large language models from the more specific, I guess you could call it AI, that backed Gong has really opened up the door to a lot of competitors that are excellent at kind of a fraction of the cost that allow a much bigger breadth of what they analyze. So I'm going to give you a great example. We use a tool called AskElephant. It's 2 words, ask and then elephant. And it's amazing. It not only does all the things Gong does, like analyze all the calls from the reps and score the calls and log the call transcriptions into the CRM and archives HubSpot and do all of that stuff as you go without a manager having to do anything. It also grabs context from email, from Google Calendars, from any chat that gets pushed into HubSpot, from HubSpot Notes itself. It grabs all of that context and weds it together. And that's amazing. I mean, I'll give you an example of how advanced you can get with something like AskElephant, and in this case, Kixie. So Kixie, as you can know if you've listened to some of our other videos, can fire off automatic calls based off of events, right? Pretty cool. However, what we can do with something like AskElephant is we can take your whole pipeline of deals. You've got, let's say, 200 deals sitting in your pipeline. And when you come in the morning, you're trying to decide who to dial, and you're looking at like maybe a task list. That task list is random. It's like, oh, you haven't called this guy in a week, give him a call. You haven't called this guy in 5 days, give him a call, that kind of thing. But there's no real reason you're calling that guy at 1 p.m. in the afternoon on a Wednesday, right? AskElephant can actually analyze all the emails coming in from that person, the chats that come in from that person, the text messages that come in that person, everything is being logged to HubSpot, analyze all of it, and then contextualize it and say, they visited your pricing page and they sent you an email asking if you're free. That person has buying intent. Let's automatically call them and then send that to Kixie, and Kixie can trigger an automatic call. That's incredible. I mean, that's something we never used to be able to do when we were using Gong or other competitors before. So I got to give AskElephant a huge award right now for having an amazing platform for both conversational intelligence and what I would say is like an AI contextualization tool. It does both of those things really, really well. I want to bring up another tool that's very similar, and I think this is a good time to mention it because there's some overlap. You'll find that with a lot of these new AI tools, there's some overlap on that Venn diagram of different, intersecting circles. So this is a tool called Triple Session. And what Triple Session is doing for us at Kixie is it's building enablement material as we go. If you're watching this and you've ever tried to scale a sales team, or maybe you're just starting to build a sales team and you want to make sure that in the future it becomes easier to hire more reps and get them calling, you'll know that designing, compiling, and building and deploying training material is brutal. I mean, you're having to try and record individual calls your reps make, save them somewhere, organize them somehow, then create like some kind of documentation of which calls should be listened to by a new hire in order to learn this and that. It's brutal. What Triple Session does, it analyzes the calls and has the conversational component of AskElephant. So it's doing that with all of our calls and grading them and deciding which calls are great and which aren't great. At the same time it's doing that, it's taking those video segments that it determines are excellent calls or excellent rebuttals, let's say, and it's building a library automatically for us as training material. So as our reps negotiate on deals around price or rebut certain arguments or manage to build rapport with somebody and it determines that that's like a great call or a great call segment, it chops it up automatically and puts it into a library for us so that it trains as you go. Dude, I would have had to hire somebody full-time staff to do that previously, and it's doing that for us every minute of the day. Amazing tool. So that's called Triple Session, another tool I highly recommend. Another one you might need is, I would say, like lead enrichment or lead provider. I would say right now, HubSpot bought Clearbit for anyone watching this, which is pretty cool. Clearbit was a really big, well-established player in that space. And so I really like HubSpot for that you can have a CRM that also does that portion on its own. If you need to go outside to find that, you can find that through Leadfeeder. There's other tools that do that too. But I love the fact that HubSpot can do it natively. It's pretty damn cool. And it automatically will push it into itself. So again, I mean, you can solve a lot of things by adopting a tool like HubSpot, or I think HighLevel is doing something similar. Like, again, a big CRM that's modular and has different parts to its platform will allow you to avoid having to pay redundant fees for other pieces of software that you would have to otherwise. And last but not least, I have to mention Kixie as a dialer. So you're gonna need a dialer. I mean, if you're watching this, you're watching it probably because you're in sales or you're running a sales team or building a sales organization and you need a dialer. And you're forced to choose very often between very basic dialers that are very easy to deploy, like an Aircall, Dialpad, or RingCentral, right? Names everybody knows, but that don't have much functionality, but are easy to use. And a dialer that are much more difficult to use, cost a whole lot more, and are really hard to set up, like a 5.9 or a Genesys or something like that, or Connect and Sell. I mean, these are great dialers in their own regard, but way overkill, way expensive, difficult to use and set up. Kixie's built to bridge that divide. So it has all of the advanced features of those big heavy duty calling solutions, but the ease of use of a simple basic dialer. And I'll give you one example. You want to buy Aircall, right? And maybe you say, oh, Aircall says they've got a power list. But guess what? When you buy it and you sign up, you find out really it dials one line after one line after one line after one line. It's dialing a single number at a time. And then you look at like a Connect and Sell or a 5.9 and you're like, dude, this thing's dialing 10 times the number of calls. It's dialing 10 lines for every one line that Aircall has. So you go look at them and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna cost thousands of dollars in setup fees. It's gonna be a 60-day deployment. It has all this stuff. Integration's gonna be difficult with my CRM. Kixie does both. Kixie's gonna give you 10 lines to dial with, but at the ease of use of a single line dialer. So no, it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, but look, I wouldn't work at Kixie if I didn't believe in the product. So by default, you're gonna hear me probably say that Kixie's a great dialer. And in fact, it is. It's great for a lot of the same reasons that HubSpot or HighLevel are great, because they're easy to use but have advanced functionality. Kixie's the same way in the dialer space. Easy to use, a lot of advanced functionality. So to summarize, I think what you need, you're gonna want some central repository, some central source of truth that has all of your customer data in it. That means a CRM, and you want it to be a generalized CRM that's really powerful rather than a specific verticalized CRM that isn't very powerful. You're gonna want some kind of conversational intelligence platform that tracks and ranks your calls and allows really you to scale management. Whereas before you need to have one manager for every 5 reps in order to listen to all their calls, you can have one manager for every 15 or 20. That's huge in terms of optimizing your business and reducing your expense. And for that, I mean, AskElephant is great. Triple Session does a lot of the similar things. And when I get to the next thing, what you're gonna need is enablement material. Well, guess what? Triple Session is gonna build that enablement library for you as you go, which in my opinion is a huge boon. Really, a really great way to do that. You can go with like a Zoom Revenue Accelerator, but again, it's gonna be more expensive and you're gonna be building that library yourself. So I have to recommend Triple Session and AskElephant in that segment. You're gonna need a chatbot. And I love Intercom. They have a great AI component. It does really well. There are other chat interfaces out there too. HubSpot even has its own. But if I'm gonna be honest, the AI bot that exists on Intercom is better than HubSpot. So in a lot of instances, to avoid having to over-index and over-hire on the support team or hire SDRs to manage chat, again, it's gonna be so much cheaper and easier to have an AI that handles those initial chats and then surfaces them and distributes them to the right people. And then, you know what? You're gonna want some kind of lead enrichment source. Again, I would go with like a CRM that has it built in, like a HubSpot, or you can go with something like Leadfeeder or something like that. Again, that's a way of gathering firmographic details and then pushing it into the deal. I'm gonna give you another little tidbit. Both AskElephant and Triple Session are both encroaching on that as well and starting to bring in firmographic data. Again, that's another segment that's gonna be hugely disrupted by AI, and you're gonna watch that price plummet down. So I would avoid getting to a long-term contract with a Leadfeeder or some other data enrichment source, because guess what? AI is probably gonna gobble that up too. And then last but not least, you're gonna need a dialer. And right now, rather than trying to pick between a basic dialer without the functionality or a really heavy duty dialer without the ease of use, I would pick Kixie, because in my opinion, it's part of the best tech stack of 2025. If you love this video and you want to learn more about Kixie or our integration partners or anything else related to sales, go ahead and look at the links below. And if you want to sign up for a free trial of Kixie, 7-day free trial, where you can jump on with a rep. And by the way, any one of my sales reps would be happy to talk to you about any of these platforms because we use them ourselves. You can go ahead, go to www.kixie.com, sign up for a free 7-day trial today.